in Brooksville. So a Category 3 hurricane made landfall in our area for the first time in more than 100 years. It happened at 8:30 near Siesta Key, 120-mile-per-hour winds, and then it began to make its very destructive track farther inland. The surge recorded, we've got some gauges near Sarasota that got up to about 10 feet. We're starting now to see some pictures coming out of the Venice area where it might have been even higher, or certainly very destructive with that surge on the southern side of the storm. And then on the northern side of the storm, well, that's where rainfall totals reached a foot to a foot and a half. And now we've started to see all the rescues from that. It is the rainwater that is coming into people's homes, getting up to their waist level, and they've had to rescue them in Hillsborough County in airboats. So I mentioned those wind speeds. Now they're going to stay at that 15 to 25-mile-per-hour wind speed as we head through the rest of the afternoon. And that's a breeze coming out of the north. And so finally drawing in that less humid air. So during the day tomorrow, couldn't take the rain chance out completely, but I really think that outside of getting a quick little sprinkle, the day is going to feel comfortable, and then it's going to stick around with nice dry conditions all the way through the weekend. I'm going to bring in meteorologist Amanda Holly, because in this summer we have not had long extended periods of dry conditions.
We have not. This is not the first time that we have been looking at a swath of rainfall between 10 and 18 inches in our area, and it's actually not the first time in just a couple of months. When Debbie rolled through, we had this same story. Of course, little different setup, and we always say every tropical system is different. This one crossed right through our area. That is the official track that the center of the storm took, and you can see where the majority of the rain fell. A lot on the southern side. It was only around a lot of our areas on the southern side, only 2, 4, 6 inches, but north of there we're talking a foot and a half of rainfall, and now that is what is leading to those lower lying areas that you keep hearing people say, well, we don't normally flood, we're not in an evacuation zone. Well, when you get 18 inches of rain over a big area, yeah, you will see abnormally high water levels get into areas that don't normally flood. Zooming in just a little bit closer on some of these harder hit areas, southern Pinellas County, upwards of 15 inches, had an actual report at the Albert Whitted Airport of 18 inches, 12 inches there in Lakeland, a foot of rain, 13 inches there in Riverview. So we are keeping an eye on that as we go forward, of course, with those rivers really starting to rise. We are keeping an eye on the rivers because they're going to crest not until tomorrow morning. Wanted to show you this, though, the Tampa rainfall, the total for this year, and this doesn't even include any rain that fell after midnight. We officially hit 77 inches, and even if we don't get another drop of rain the entire rest of the year, we will end the wettest year on record in Tampa. So certainly, Lee, it's been a wet year, and that is because we had 3 storms pass by our area. Helene and Debbie, of course, paralleled our coastline, and then Milton went through it, but Debbie brought that devastating rainfall to Sarasota and Manatee County just 3 months ago.
So unfortunately, just 20 years later, we had a terrible year in 2004 where we were hit by 4 hurricanes in the state of Florida. Here, 20 years later exactly, in 2024, we've now been hit so far by 3 hurricanes, and 2 of them major hurricanes. So we're going to be very thankful for this nice dry period where we can clean things up. We can kind of get our wits about us, because we certainly have spent the last 2 weeks tracking major storms moving in and impacting our area. So lower humidity, enjoying that. Temperatures dropping into the 60s tonight, Friday night, and Saturday night. So again, while this is not cold air by any means, it's certainly more refreshing, and when you don't have air conditioning, that refreshing air where you can lift up the windows and kind of cool things down is nice.
Oh yeah, that's how I was all morning. Yeah, we had the doors open at the hotel, and just the breeze. I had a blanket.
Yeah. So it felt good for a change.
Yeah, it actually feels really good, and this is really going to help as folks clean up.
Yeah. But too bad it took this to get us that first cool front, right? Hey, I just want to say you guys have been doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much.
The whole team has worked really hard, all of us. We've all got our jobs, and we're all chugging along.
I mean, I think it was amazing that it stayed on the path that you kind of expected. We saw a lot of the wobbles with our tracker, but it was largely, I feel like the forecasting of these storms is getting better.
Well, and, this was one of the few times we really wished our forecast would have been wrong, because we were looking at all these things going like, this has never happened before, this has never happened before. And the fact that all of those elements, all of those threats with the tropical system were coming together with one storm hitting our area. We really, really wanted to be wrong.
Right. Well, I remember you saying early on that this doesn't take a path like this, so it's kind of unprecedented. So I didn't know how accurate the forecast would be, not for you guys, but even for the National Hurricane Center. What were you about to say?
I was just going to say, it's, you know, it is a little more unusual for us to see this powerful of a storm obviously hitting us. It's been over 100 years since we've seen this. So, you know, it's unlike anything that our generation has seen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hurricane season, y'all, and we got to buckle up and stay strapped in until November 30th.
I hope it's done. I hope it's done. I'm going on the record.